Top of the morning to you. Good morning, welcome. This is This Morning on ITV. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. Finally, Nigerians can actually breathe fresh air as we got a bit of cheery news over the weekend with the Oyo situation after 56 days. Almost 2 months gone, and now we get to hear that the students have been rescued, and including the teachers. But so many things went down during that process, and we're here to fill you up to speed with the latest of the details as it unfolds. And we're also here that the children and also the teachers would be reunited with the family, hopefully today. Welcome on board. I'm not doing this alone. I have my colleagues joining in Abuja and Lagos this morning as well. Good morning, amazing colleagues. Good to see you. Happy weekend. Let me start with Patricia in Lagos. Patricia, good morning. How are you?
Very well, I know. You look so bright this morning.
Right, so fill me in, what do you actually make of what really is going on currently at this point with the situation in Oyo State? How excited are Nigerians, and what's that commendation, or how far should we really give thumbs up to the security operatives in Nigeria?
Okay, Nigerians are celebrating. I am also celebrating. I have been so excited when I saw the rescue and that the children and the teachers had been rescued. So thumbs up to the Nigerian military who had gone to do this, you know. And then also we say condolences to the family of the lieutenants that died during the operation. For me, I began to wonder, is it that the military operation in Oyo was easier because there was absence of intelligence leakage? Probably there was nobody leaking out information on what the military are planning to the terrorists or to the abductors, you know. So I guess that's what made it very easy, because they didn't get to hear that the military was getting up or catching up on them, and so fortunately that worked out and pulled off for the Nigeria Army. And we hope this continues, you know, because over the weekend we also heard a lot of families that were also kidnapped in Plateau State. You know, some were killed and some were also kidnapped. We hope the military will continue to do this. It shouldn't be a one-off thing. And then kudos and, you know, condolence, like I said, to the lieutenant. He was just 28 and he passed on during this operation. I'm looking forward to the federal government honoring him. Anu.
Before I move over to Joseph Kadiri in Abuja for emphasis, the kidnapped pupils and teachers from Orire, Oyo State have been freed by their abductors, and the development comes more than 50 days in captivity. Now, the release was announced on a post on X by Bayo Onanuga, spokesman to the presidency, and he disclosed that 8 members of the kidnapping gang were arrested during the rescue operation and are now in custody with the Department of State Services. Onanuga said the rescue operation did not involve any exchange or concession to the kidnappers, noting that a notorious gang leader whose release had been demanded by the abductors remains in custody and is being persecuted for his alleged crimes. Now, Joseph, the big question on Nigerians' lips at this point is whether ransom was paid or not. That information is currently not at the disposal. But what are your thoughts on this, and what lessons can we learn from the situation that occurred in Oyo State?
All right, a very good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Patricia and Anuoluwapo Stevens. A very beautiful outcome we have seen there since Friday. What the government has said is that there was no concession, which means that ransom wasn't paid. And you just have to take that, because if anyone thinks otherwise, you have to prove it. Government has said ransom was not paid. Let's leave it at that, and we'll say it's a beautiful thing. And we must at this time commend the effort of the residents of Orire and its environs, because they also were part of this rescue mission with provision of adequate intelligence. And you know, when it comes to this kind of war, what we need, what military, police, DSS need is intelligence. And those intelligence we are provided to the Joint Task Force of Army, DSS, and Police. And the intels were well consumed in secret, and they embarked in that operation. And of course, we have seen the beautiful result of about 39 students and 5 teachers. You know, a total of 44 were rescued. Yes, in that kind of operation, there may be casualty. We have seen one. We'll just give our condolences and hope that the federal government will do the needful to the families that the young officer left behind. Now, going forward, the lessons learned in Oyo can be replicated in other areas where Nigerians, innocent citizens, have been kidnapped and are still under, you know, are still with the abductors. You have the Birnin Yauri girls, you know, here in Kebbi State. They are still with the abductors. What is happening? We have the remnant of Chibok and Dapti girls, where, of course, Leah Sharibu fall into. What is happening? We have so many of them. So we hope that the, you know, lessons learned here can be replicated in other areas where innocent Nigerians are still under the captive of these bad guys. And let's see how they can be released. So it's a very good thing that ransom wasn't paid. In fact, what that information said, looking at Bio's message, is that one of the kingpin who has been in the custody of the DSS, these guys were actually asking that gang leader be released so that the students and teachers in captivity will also be released. But the federal government rejected that offer, which to me is a plus. You do not negotiate with the bad guys, and that negotiation wasn't done. At the end of the day, we have seen that those in captivity have been rescued. So it's a good one.
Absolutely, indeed. And just as you did to say, a lot of Nigerians are still asking, what about the girls who got kidnapped on the same day? On May 15th, when the situation in Oyo State actually occurred in Borno State, and what happened to those persons, those children? We're looking forward to a situation where all of the abducted children are reunited back to their families right here in Nigeria. It's an ongoing development, and we're going to do justice to it as it unfolds. But Patricia, back to you. I'd love to get your thoughts on what we're getting from your end this morning.
I know, you know, everybody will be talking about the rescue mission. And so that's what we're going to be looking at here in Lagos. We're going to be looking at the rescue mission, you know, how effective will this be as the military, the implication fight against insecurity. Are we going to continue this wonderful operation across Nigeria, just like we have just discussed? We're going to be looking at the implication, how this will continue, so we'll be able to free every other people that have been adopted. Just like I said earlier on, we also had some people adopted in Plateau State. Plateau State again in the news, and some were killed. So we hope that this operation will escalate to Plateau State and be able to free those that have been adopted. So that's what we'll be looking at from Lagos.
Kadri, what are we getting from your end? Please go on.
Be celebrated for a long time.
Right.
And the reason is because, you know, the section of the Constitution that talks about security and welfare of the people is the responsibility of government, Section 22B, just split out here, and there are many areas that we could, you know, have these issues discussed. And find a way to ensuring that it doesn't happen again, and even if it does, lessons learned be used to, also rescue others. So that is the crux of the discussion for today.
Okay, well, thank you so much, gentleman and lady. And currently in the studio, I have Sonny Diokokoso. Good morning. Good to see you. How was your weekend? I'm sure you're excited.
Yeah, very excited. I mean, what really made the weekend exciting for me, and I believe for many Nigerians, both at home and in the diaspora, is the release of the Oyo kidnapped victims, the teachers, and the pupils. That brought a lot of butterflies in my stomach. And I said that with every sense of responsibility. And it also brought to the fore how interagency collaboration, cooperation, and synergy can help us to go far in the fight against insecurity. It also shows that when government is committed to a cause without ethnic biases, religious biases, and all other biases as the case may be, the result will manifest, in good time. After 56 days, those victims have been released. The army was involved, the police was involved,
the
DSS, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Air Force, the Navy SEALs, the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, every known security agency in the country was involved in that operation. And I think I saw for the first time some special tactical squad of the army. Like some of the things we see in the movies, with the way they dressed, fully kitted us. And I was asking myself, so we have
all of this?
Yes, in the country, and then we have all of these insecurity challenges. So government needs to be more frontal in dealing decisively with insecurity. I think I saw a post not too long ago where someone suggested that if we must make headway in dealing with this issue, we need to set up a special squad that will deal with things of this nature. But unknown to him, it already existed. And I also understand there is a structure within the Office of the National Security Advisor that, that is dedicated to things like this. So we need to see more of this kind of actions. The background that we have is that Lakurawa is involved, was responsible for this. 2 of their kingpins were arrested sometime last year. So they wanted to use this to embarrass the government and demand for the release of these 2 leaders. But at the end of the day, we've seen how the security agents were able to mobilize, work together, and then turn the table against them. Today we have those children freed. We have the teachers freed. It's unfortunate some people lost their lives in the course of this. Our heart goes out to the family of those that lost their lives. But the question Nigerians are asking is, or what Nigerians want, is for us to leverage on this template and extend it to other parts of the country, particularly the core areas where insecurity is at its highest peak. I mean, we just saw in the news what has happened in Benue, what continues to happen in Plateau, Zamfara, where we heard that one of the notorious kingpin, Kachala Gide, has been killed. I just hope finally he has been finally killed, because I know that
because this is Nigeria, we get to hear the same news.
Yeah, and then another thing, the flip side to the Oyo release of the kidnapped victim is that people are asking, was any ransom paid? Secondly, these guys who held these children, these victims, captive for 56 days, what happened to them? Was it that they were just allowed to go scot-free? We give them a vehicle, they put the children in, or the victim will bring them back. And these are questions there. So what happened? Was there a gun duel or something? Where are these guys? Are they still in the Oyo forest? But I'm sure they said investigations were ongoing. So let's see how all of that will pan out. But we must give credit and commendation to all the security agents that were involved in this to bring this to a great end. And the way they responded to this issue. People also made comparison between how this happened and then the Chibok story. Unfortunately, the environments are different, the circumstances are different, and the response level of security agents quite different. In the Chibok case, very slow, a lot of indecisions along the line. But in this case, immediately happened, the first thing the security agents did, they cordoned off all the exit routes. And that made it difficult for the terrorists to move the victims away from the forest. And then, of course, we heard they got all their family members arrested. That put up a lot of pressure on them today. The story is good, and we hope we can leverage on this to advance the fight against insecurity in the country. Don't forget, insecurity is local. We all need everybody's contribution to make it work if we must move forward.
Absolutely,
this country. Yeah.
absolutely. I'd also love us to rub minds as regards, because you made mention about the government. On Friday, that same day where we got this beautiful cherry news, the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, was at a meeting. He had a meeting with the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed, if I'm not mistaken, where he said that the situation that happened in Oyo State with the abduction of the children happened that's the next day, after he talked about his intention of running for president in Nigeria. He categorically did say that they have never heard the news as regards anything with insecurity in Oyo State for over 7 years that he has been in office. What do you make out of this? And then at that particular same day, a couple of hours after he made that statement, we get to hear that the federal government have, rescued the individuals who got abducted in Oyo State.
Yeah, I think it's not everything we politicize just for the fun of it or to get one cheap political point. And you also look at the scenario from what is available in the media space. The security agents at some point cut off Seyi Makinde in all the communications and conversation, especially when he now had a meeting with Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State. And that's because the governor of Bauchi State is alleged to be involved in some funding of terrorists and stuff like that. That's why I use the word alleged, because it's still an issue that is ongoing, being investigated. I mean, some of the transfers that he made to Badejo, the Mietiala president, who is now in the custody of security agents, has also placed some sort of surveillance on him. So when you have those kind of interactions going on, engagement going on, you have to, I mean, in circumstances like this, everybody is a suspect.
True. Yeah.
So let's not go into that ambit of politicking because we want to score cheap political points. Some people would even say, oh, Wike should be held responsible because Wike said he was going to teach him a lesson. A few days after he said that, this is what happened. All right, but if you look at the story itself, at the background information, how these guys came, did their surveillance, look for a safety nest for themselves, look for a vulnerable environment where they can pick people, embarrass the government, and they chose Southwest because they know that's where the president is from, to gain international and national attention. I mean, you just look at all of that, and the reasons advanced. When they came out, they said, look, they wanted their leaders in detention to be released. Don't forget that in the course of this issue, I think it was the speaker of Oyo State Assembly that came out to say, oh, the terrorists want so and so billions of naira to be paid to their to an account in Benin Republic. They listed a whole lot of things, and then the terrorists came out to deny all of those things.
Well, so many things really to talk about with this issue, and it's an ongoing one. But let's bring it down to Edo State. Over the weekend, we had 18 over 18. The APC, clinching all of the seats for a lot of Nigerians.
I want to sleep right now. I want to sleep.
And it was really expected. We saw that happen. And why do you want to sleep?
Because it's a non-issue, really, because
it's not even a conversation we should
you should expect that, because it's been a trend and a pattern in our politics, as far as I can remember. When you have an incumbent in place, local government election will always go 100% in the direction of the incumbent party and the incumbent government. That has been the pattern. So were you expecting anything less than that?
Certainly not.
It can only change if we have the federal INEC conduct elections like it used to be. Use Edo State as an example. We had the likes of Barrister Harry Dahagmo, who was in ANPP at the time, won Ego, local government. It has always been a very independent-minded local government when it comes to election. We have seen that manifest, in recent times, from 2023, even the last, general election. But people are saying that with the kind of structure system that we have today, there's that strong possibility that even if you have the federal INEC conducting local government election, it's most likely going to go in the way of the ruling party and the government of the day. Definitely. Because there are a lot of, compromises, a lot of interest, a lot of the winner takes it all, and all of those things going on. But if we have a truly independent INEC, and we provide a level playing field for all the parties to participate, I'm sure we would not have what we're having today. Of course. Everything always works together for the good of the ruling party at the death. I mean, don't forget that several of the political parties, withdrew from the election. I actually saw a video where a supposedly polling center was under lock and key. Oh my God. I won't be surprised if results came out of that polling center. Oh, wow. Anyway, but we say congratulations to all the winners.
I told you to hear that somebody at age 30 won one local government.
That should be Ovia Southwest.
It actually gladdened my heart that we have young persons, in power. Yeah. Please do well. That's another thing.
Yeah, no, he must perform. He needs to perform because it will send the wrong signal. Of course. At some point, we had Yaya Bello as being the youngest governor in the country. He didn't leave a good legacy for young people, for the youths, because that was an exalted office committed to his trust. But if you look at the trajectory, it's not been very positive in terms of what he left behind. He owed backlog of salaries. He was shortchanging civil servants and all kinds of things. I mean, when he left office, he had a running battle with ICPC or EFCC to the tune of over 80 billion naira. The allegations of how he was using state funds to sponsor his children in school, and all of these things didn't, present him as a model or as a role model for young people. Unfortunately, so.
Oh, well, we're looking forward to it. Anyway, all of this is going to shape our conversation this morning on the show. We'll quickly take a short break. When we return, we move over to the front pages of the newspaper. Please stay with us.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her. Yeah. In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
bully we're talking
That's
about.
what I said. So
that's-
when they bullied her,
Yeah.
now, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They can't
smart.
sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them up and dragging on both sides, you cannot you cannot breathe.
Oh,
And
wow.
these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining on to This Morning on ITV. Now we'll now take a look at the front pages of the newspaper. But just before we do that, we have two gentlemen join us this morning right here in the studio. Let me quickly start with Dr. Dan Ekerafo, HOD, Mass Communication Department. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome on board. And we also have Harrison Ezekiel, former leader of Oredo Legislative Assembly. Thank you so much for coming. Good morning. Now let's start with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It's leading with the major headline that says, Ori, how a lot of kidnappers' family rescue of victims. Survivors may not return to school. The speaker the victim on the details of that story. And I would you what you during
For families who go through psychological for 2 months and they leave all of a sudden, you cannot express the type of joy you will feel.
Yeah.
And considering the ages of those children, I have been the type of environment they were kept,
Yeah.
the trauma they be feeling, lots of say, is it that I will not see my parents again and all that. So for them to release those children, that's a big sigh of relief, and I think the parents of the children felt the same way. So for me, it's a joyous moment for both families to reunite, for the children to reunite with their family and say we are back home.
You did say rescued. You said, is there a reason for that choice?
Well, if you say it was a combat operation between the military authorities and the kidnappers, if that was the case, the result would be that the children will not return. So I don't think it was a combat operation. I think it's more of a release.
Right. Away from that, the Guardian newspaper is up next, and the major headline that says Nigeria leaves e-waste recycling to hustlers, misses out on $89 billion income.
Yes, I'm interested in that story.
Okay.
And you know why. Waste is big business, but fortunately, we don't really have government taking that very, very seriously. So those who are involved in waste collection and disposal are people who are just doing it for the monetary value. not to protect the environment, not to conserve the environment, not to preserve the environment. And maybe Harrison, who was the former legislative leader at Oredo, will give us more insight into everything that I'm talking about.
Okay. On the side of the government, so government doesn't recognize that they can make money from waste, and not until we get to those things, we are going nowhere. What we just remove it there and dispose it that as well.
Yeah. Right. Now we move over to the Daily Trust newspaper. Quite interested in this story because a lot of Nigerians are reacting to it at this point. It says federal government exam fee hike raises job-proud fears. Dr. Dan, over the weekend we saw the news that the federal government wants to raise WAEC and NECO fee from 27,500 naira to 50,000 naira from 2027. What do you think is going on here?
Sometimes when you look at the policies of government, you'll be asking yourself whether these policies are well examined before they put them out to the public. We are complaining about high level of poverty in the land, people not having money for basic feeding, and you are saying you're increasing WAEC fee to 50,000. The implication is that a lot of children may not be able to register for WAEC. For those who will be able to register, they will have to go through the mill. In doing that, I do not think at this point in our national life, where things are a little difficult for people, government should think of increasing WAEC to that humongous amount. Humongous in the sense that for many poor people, raising 50,000 is a big deal. I recall sometimes early this year, a family called my elder sister, started lamenting that they cannot pay their WAEC fee. Don't forget that this official charge from WAEC is not what the children will eventually pay. Yeah. By the time the state will add their own, the schools will add their own, what they will eventually pay will be over 100,000. So you ask yourself, if you put it at this level, the implication is that for many young people, especially in the rural areas, they will not be able to pay. That is the implication. So government effort at reducing the level of illiteracy or uneducated people in the society will nosedive. So the government should take through this policy before they think of implementation. That is my honest take on this. Okay.
Punch newspaper is up next, and it says troops kill 274 insurgents as Nigeria records 882 attacks. Well, subwriter says Borno tops violence chart with 172 fatalities. Zamfara, Plateau follows. U.S. body report says insurgents target aid workers, cargo trucks, and schools. Report identifies Borno Mongunu axis as Nigeria's critical humanitarian flashpoint.
For us to experience 882 attacks, I don't know the period of this report, whether it's in the last 1 year or within this year alone. That tells you a lot that we are more in a war zone. If every day you wake up to one attack or the other, it means we are in a critical situation. Sometimes when you talk like this, those in governments often feel you are trying to exaggerate the issue. And when government makes effort to do one or two rescue or foil one attack, they go to the media and seek praises of itself. And that is very unfortunate. We are supposed to live in a society where people experience what you will call peace. I'm an adept traveler. Funny enough, I travel up to the north, Yobe, Jigawa, Bauchi, all of those areas. I know the corners in those areas.
In recent times.
So, like, can I try it?
Certainly not.
Can I try it? So the implication is that we're in a war zone, and government must redirect its approach to tackling insecurity. And one of the reasons for this, when you look at the poverty in the land, and young men are offered simple drugs with little cash, they can easily be recruited into some of these armed gangs that are terrorizing us here and there. So government must wake up and say, this must stop. And the only way to do that is to stamp each feet down. About 3 weeks ago, the effort at state police was taken at a very high level. The level of enthusiasm show at that level, they should pull it through. so that before the year runs out, we can begin to say, now that we have state police, how do we equip them? How do we ensure that community policing is entrenched so that cases of this nature can be addressed easily? That is what I think government should start thinking.
Harrison, you want to comment on that?
You see, I think the major problem we have is that the government is not taking this issue of insecurity seriously. They just give you numbers, even when they say they have victory over them. You don't see evidence. They tell you the military have taken over some area, they don't have been killed. You just see the news, nothing happened. But when the military do their own, they do video. You see evidence. So if we have strategy to look down these people, and they themselves also watching that the military is actually doing good, that is, some of them also want to pull out.
Okay.
Now look at the children issue.
Okay.
What we are seeing is the rescues, we say they are released and all that. Later, the spokesperson of the president came out to say that it was a battle and all that. So that, where are the casualties of this person who kept at
Okay, so if you ask me, what I'm going to ask you?
So people just feel everything is a gun.
Well, we wrap up with the New Telegram newspaper. The New Telegraph newspaper says protection of financial livelihood by powerful actors fueling terrorism in Nigeria. Who was speaking? Amachi. He also went ahead to say, non-speaking, how Tinubu State Police Initiative will help combat insecurity. Bandits have no religion. Stop linking criminality to Islam. Oluwo has that to say. Armed herders attack Benue community, kill a resident. Dr. Daniel, take on this.
You know, this issue of people fueling supporting terrorism in one way or the other by way of financing has been an issue since 2017. Government keeps saying they will release the list of the individuals involved. Up till now, their names have not been released. So you ask yourself, if the government is sincere about tackling insecurity, stopping terrorism, or nipping it in the bud, why is the government afraid of releasing the names of the individuals? The bank accounts are known, the transfers are known, but government is not ready to do the needful. You recall that some years back, a group of people who went to Mecca for Hajj were repatriated back to Nigeria because of the fact that they identified them as terrorism financiers. Why did the government not take action in this light? Why would the government keep postponing the evil days? For me, if the government wants to stop all of this, get these individuals arrested, and use the Terrorism Act to try them. That is the only way you can send a strong message to those who are having interest in doing that, that government means business. And if we are not ready to do that, all the talk about stopping terrorism and all the rest will remain a child's dream.
Right.
Don't also forget, the type of weapons these guys use are not weapons you can buy from the street. They are weapons that are purchased at the international market. How much does it cost to buy an AK-47? You will need over 2 million naira to get one. So where are those small boys getting the guns? Somebody is one fueling it. And when these things happen and people go about negotiating, you are empowering these individuals to continue. And this has been our trajectory for the past how many years? The time has come for all Nigerians to say enough is enough, so that we can have a society that we're proud of.
Absolutely, enough is enough. Well, on that note, we get to, leave the conversation here regarding newspaper review. Do also pick up a copy of any of the national dailies and stay up to date with what is going on currently in the country. We'll quickly take a short break. When we return, we'll move over to our first to discuss for today with the local government election that happened on Saturday right here in Edo State, and APC clinching all of the local government areas, 18 over 18. All of this and more after this break.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of 2 local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Welcome back. Now, the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission has declared the All Progressive Congress APC winner of all 18 chairmanship positions and 192 councillorship seats contested in Saturday's local government election right here in Edo State. Announcing the results at the Commission's headquarters in Benin City on Sunday, the chairman, Jonathan Ifer-Bukar, said the elections were conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Edo State Local Government Electoral Law and other relevant electoral guidelines. According to him, the electoral process, which included accreditation, voting, sorting, counting, correlation, and declaration of results, was completed across all 18 local government areas right here in Edo State. Now, joining me in the studio this morning, I still have my amazing gentlemen in the studio, but joining us now is Comrade Solomon Idiobe. Good morning, Comrade. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Anu. You're looking good this Monday morning, and viewers at home, very good morning this morning.
Thank you so much. Now, let me start with you. 18 over 18, were you shocked, or it didn't come as a surprise to you?
It can't be a surprise. It's been an affirmation since the last local government election we had was during Adams Oshomole. That seemed like a local government election. Although that was the beginning of the 18 over 18 scores, and then it's become a trend across the country. So when a ruling party is in power, you do not was there a contestation, by the way? It was an affirmation. So
but should it be that way is another question.
Is it not conducted by Edo State for Edo State? It was an ESET, not an INEC. Did you see beavers there? INEC, they do something with the fear hammer where when Peter dog the chop Peter go the chop Peter yam. So it wasn't a shock. I wasn't expecting anything less. The only area I'm not comfortable, that is the story that there was massive turnout. Because I've tried to check. I've got our people who were out, on observation. I saw the report of a colleague who went around. There was no massive turnout, but the ruling party have continued to holler massive turnouts, and that's the only place. Look at every other thing. I'm really not sure. I will not even be shocked if they get 7.5 million votes. Because it's an APC to APC.
All right, now, Dr. Dan, what were your observations during the election on Saturday?
Well, prior to the election,
right,
the initial announcement was that there was a restriction of movement. I think something after 6 or so, there was another release from SEC chair that there will be movement since it's a local elections. But generally, from the clips I saw from different polling units, the turnout was very low. though the HCX says 12 parties contested for the election, but the reality is that in the validity to the election, we did not see the major opposition candidate to the APC. They were not known to us, by way of saying we saw their posters, their campaign materials saying they want to contest for local government election. Just like Mr. Idiogbe said, it has become our pastime, where local elections that would have been opportunity for us to allow people to decide who rule them, we turn it to a reaffirmation of selection by the party in power. So, what was the contest? Who were the contestants? What was the level of argumentation leading to the election in terms of what each of these persons had to offer? These things were not in the front burner. But we can do all the talk here. The election has been conducted. Winners have been declared. So we wait to see whether these individuals who have been selected, if I use the word in quote, have anything to offer the people of Edo State.
Okay, now moving to you, Mr. Harrison, I wonder why Dr. Daniels is selected instead of, elected. But then again, aside the observation, during the course of the election, were there cases of rigging or violence or electoral violence, as the case may be, or it was just a smooth ride?
Rigging against who?
But we had other political parties.
No, they just put those names there. We are not new to the system. It was an election conducted between APC and APC. And first of all, I think we need to get a conceptual clarification. You see, we have a problem in our society. The biggest thing this president did for Nigeria was to take the governors to the Supreme Court. That they needed local government autonomy. That was the biggest policy we ever thought of. And the Supreme Court of Nigeria gave a judgment that going forward, no state governor or state assembly can remove elected local government chairman. Nigeria Supreme Court, a judgment that is standing, and you can no longer appeal. In the same country, governors refuse to obey that same judgment from the Supreme Court of the same country, and the president kept quiet. The current people who are there now, in December 17, 2025, the Edo State House of Assembly came up with a resolution suspending the chairman and vice chairman for 2 months, and they asked them to hand over to the leader, the speakers of the various local governments. By virtue of opportunities, at that particular time, I was a speaker for the local government council. And when the resolution came, I took over the administration of the council. I have sat for 2 weeks. I have addressed the staff in the council. Now, when another information came from the party saying that before you now have access to resources in the council, you must now go and impeach the chairman and vice chairman. And at that point, I said, no, there's no vacuum in government. If the local government, if the, as my say, act for 2 months, they won't investigate these people, even when they don't have the right to do that. And at that point, I said, for me, I am a human rights activist. These are things I preached against over the years. And I entered this process not because I was jobless. I resigned from my job to come out because my community called me to come and represent the area. And on that note, I told them, well, for me, I can do it. It became an issue. These people took over. You experience say one person sitting there as the chairman and vice chairman. I think by the time it's 1 year, Facebook will remind them. And you see all these things. I think they will be out of government at that time. They came up again that they did one election that was not too clear, that they are now affirming some local government and all these things they didn't work. So the direction is this, is their turn. You know, Nigeria as a country, we are not ready to move this country forward. The local government have become the impulse stream of the governors all over Nigeria. No, it's not limited to Edo State. So that is why for me I don't bother. But I think that a time will come that the right thing will be done. Nigeria will be okay. It's a matter of time. All this we are seeing is just quest for money and all that. You go and sit down between that period to this time. Right. Go and take statistics of what are coming to the local government and the state. Are the local government actually getting it? If they are getting, what are they doing with the money? So I'm not too bothered about whether they did the election or not, because whether you like it or not, they are already in charge. It's a normal, it's a tradition in Nigeria. They will bring in their people and they will do what they need to do. But when you are there, remember that you are representing the people, and it's just a matter of some particular time. When you leave, people will ask you, what did you do when you were there? So that's what matters to me, because what happened on Saturday is the normal thing that we used to see. The only time we experienced local government election in Nigeria was 1999, stroke 2000, when Governor Lucky Bendel was the governor of this state. And that election was conducted by INEC, not SEC. That is when Felix Omi was the chairman of Igweben, and Barrister Henry Dago was the chairman of Ego. That was when we saw election. The opposition, APP want to do local government, and a party that was in power. Well, ever since when they set up SEC, it's just if it's our party, we just write them and keep everybody there and you move on. It is not ready for our democracy. If we must fix Nigeria, we must go back to the local government. And the Nigeria must be fixed from the world down to the national.
Well, so many questions right now playing out in my head. Number one, let me move back to you, Comrade Solomon. Should we in Edo State and other states, because it's not a situation of being particular alone to Edo State, should we go back to when INEC was actually conducting elections for, local government right here in Nigeria? Of course, we're aware that that's what plays out in Abuja, but what about other states in the country? Perhaps it would help, checkmate some of these things that we get to see as regards 18/18 and other excesses from the incumbent government.
I think that would be the best thing to happen. But if it happens under this administration of Emilokon, it will still be Emilokon. Like my brother called it, it's our turn. But I think it will be better. It will be more robust contestation, so that we can drag. And what people fail to understand is that governance is actually about the local thing. By status, by law, by the status of what my brother just explained, by Supreme Court judgment, the local government is supposed to be autonomous. It's supposed to be the closest government, source of government to the people. They are the ones that are responsible for the basic needs and basic infrastructure, primary healthcare, primary education, all the primary.
Do we even see that happen?
Markets, parks, truncate, and all of the, on paper.
On paper, right.
But, this is a country where the law is made and the law is not made. The laws are there, but the instrumentality of governance to make it work, that's what they refer to as implementation. It's not there. I'm glad that my brother is talking like this, because once upon a time he was on the other side of the bench. I was happy when he mentioned that the last time we ever had, because I was fair enough to say the last time we ever had a local government election was during the Adams Oshomole, because that's the emergence of the 18th of it was the first in the country. I don't know the carry last. We were the first to broke the whole nonsense, selection process, affirmation trend, yes. To do 18/18, because while the election was going on at Turum, it was still going on, and I remember Yakubu was contesting as a local government chairman. The selection process announcement was being done in Benin, and that was the last we ever had a local government election. And my brother was clear enough, because thank God, he was a speaker at some point. He had said it all, and I'm happy that we are vindicated. But the truth remains that until the people realize that we're even shooting ourselves in the leg, you understand? We're shooting ourselves in the leg because we are refusing to participate in an election that matters most. We're not deliberately, but because of the fact that government has strangulated the people enough that we know. You said it was peaceful, relatively peaceful. There was no rigging. Yes, there was rigging. There was.
In what part of the state?
Now, rigging, you now ask, what form of rigging? Rigging is not limited to ballot box snatching.
Okay, so we have different types of rigging.
Yes. Oh. When you reflect votes, just to impress the populace, that you are calculating your 2.5 million votes, as they've been announcing, is another form of rigging. You are creating an illusion of an original. It's rigging in itself. Because I watched the party chairman saying that he's very impressed on the turnout, massive turnout. It's a calculation of that 2.5 million votes. It was a test run. That was rigging in itself. But having said that, I want to make it clear that the people are not doing themselves very well, the best they can do. And I want to also advise this government. Soldier goes, soldier come, barrack remains. Once upon a time, there was a governor that was called a Maton. There was a governor that was called Emperor Seki. He did even more. But today, though there are still facts, pointers, that there were some things he did that were right. What I'm trying to say is that the incumbent should realize that when you begin to pray for the late Ojowe in the presence of the current Ojowe, it's enough to tell you that life itself is transient.
Absolutely, and power is transient as well. Now, moving back to you, Dr. Dan, what are the implications of all of this? Because there's a usual saying that says, he who detects the pipe, how do you say that?
Takes the pipe and detects the tune.
Absolutely, and a situation where we have, you know, the incumbent clinching all of the seats. Should the people, the populace, the citizens of Edo State expect anything more from the persons on board at this point?
Thank you for this question. I want you to realize that if the processes leading to the elections were not transparent, such that it was more of a selection thing, the implication is that the individual who is selected becomes an individual they used to play their pawn game. Why did I say this? I have a problem with many party leaders. You don't allow individuals who have capacity to vie for positions. You go about, you backhand, you collect money and say this is the candidate. What you are going to see when you talk about the implication is that because many of these guys who were either selected as councillors, local government chairmen, were product of backhand arrangement, they must be making remittances to the individuals involved. So you may not get real development at the end of the day. Two, a man who does not have competence is picked as a councillor. They say, we are putting you there. At the end of the day, they cannot initiate simple bylaws that you can use to manage the local affairs of the people. They cannot engage a council chairman because they don't have capacity. That is the second implication of what you are going to do. Now, because the people were not involved in the process, so there will be a disconnect. When you write and complain, they say we are on it. First year we end, second year we end, third year we enter into another realm of local government elections because the people were not involved in the process. If we allow local input into the process, the result of what you are going to get is that the councillor will come to the council and tell the chairman, my people say this road is bad and we need it fixed now. But when that is not the case, what will you get? They say we are on it. 1 year we pass. That is why you see many streets are in terrible situation. Nobody is saying anything. Because the individuals who are supposed to represent the people in the first instance were not people who live in that environment. They were brought from outside in the name that they are from that locality. So once we keep selecting people without allowing the populace decide who manages their affair, the implication is that our talk about grassroots development will remain a shared dream. I was in a sister station on Saturday when these elections were going on. Right. And part of the issue I threw up before them is, many of them are telling me we will fix road, we will build primary school, we will do this. When they get to the council, will they have the capacity to do that? When in the first place somebody said, this is the man I want as a local government chairman. The primaries that threw up the individual was not a clear primary. They say party leaders have decided. And so the fate of the people have been sealed. We did not test the capacity of the individual to engage in meaningful discussion. Whether it can even initiate a policy that will bring about change in the local environment. These things were not done. And we keep the same trajectory. When last do we have a council chairman that is vocal, pro-people? When last do we see that? The reason is that The individuals were put there by somebody, and every month he make remittances to the individuals who put him there. And so once we continue with this, we cannot get development. So that is the crux of our problem.
Right, so basically it's a case of godfatherism playing out still at the local government level.
That is the biggest level. Do you have the capacity to challenge your godfather? Go back to what you call politics of prebendalism. It was a case of somebody who is a bishop, and you decide to put your children in big parishes. At the end of the month, you make remittances to the Lord Bishop. That was how the idea of prebendalism started, and they now translated it to politics. So for many people, they say it's the council chairman. Some of them are council chairmen as figurehead. The real men who are behind the council, they are out there. Okay. The council chairman, the day he says, I will not release any fund, they will give little coins to the councillors, and they will say the party chairman is a pig, the local government chairman is a pig. That is what we have been seeing over the years. But I will appeal to the government, let us see real development. You keep pushing the people to the wall. Poverty is growing at the highest level. In the last 10 years, in the last 5 years, how many new markets have been built by local government council? Say, this area people are suffering too much. I'll build them a market so that they will not be going to New Benin, Ring Road, to do basic things. When last did you see that?
The state government is building urban markets.
No. Market is not supposed to be the business of the state government. That's supposed to be a local affair.
Okay.
How many local government are building local market within areas that women can bring their goods out to trade? When they even think of such a policy, the godfathers will tell them, did we tell you to go and do that? And the guy, because he wants to keep his own cash flow.
And his office.
No, not the office, it's the cash flow. Nothing will be done about it. So I will appeal to party leaders, the so-called godfathers. Development is not rocket science. You travel every day outside the shores of this country. Can you allow a semblance of what you see outside replicated here, so that when we wake up, we will feel a sense of belonging? Imagine somebody living in Uyoge here. We have to travel all the way to what do you call the market after Technical Junction? Uselu market to go and buy things. Why not have a community market here that people here, they can bring goods here, people living around here can buy something? Is it rocket science to do that?
No, they are trying to do cross-pollination. You know, he needs to leave, the person needs to leave of their northeast to a local government, so that it can be a local government movement. It's a development.
Let me move over to you, Harrison. What do you have a different opinion as regards what has been said so far? And I'm really particular about the people, because at the end of the day, governance is all about service, but we don't see that happen. So with all of this trend that happens over time, don't you think it gets to bear in voter apathy?
That one is already there. You see,
so should we let it be this way? What can we do?
That is why people like us are taking some very difficult decisions. To send a clear message that we still have people who believe that things should be done irrespective of the benefit that is coming. For me, I was privileged to work under, in my first term in 2018, I got that ticket through a primary process. Because when I was coming in 2005, I worked with EU. Between 2005 and 2009, I was in a program with European Union tagged NPP6, Micro Project Program for Cities of Niger Delta. And Oredo was my local government where I was working. So at that point, I implemented projects in all those villages in the Yekoba. That was how they called me to come and do politics. Because I was get the cassava, be funded by European Union. Even at that time, the head of that program, Abati Baradu, and one of that Nigerian, I don't want to call his name here, also told me that in these villages we are going to, there are no houses there. Can't we just do some and also keep the money? Since I was a signatory to the account, I'm also rejected. I don't know why every time when money is coming, you have to come to do it this way, and I will say no. That was 2007. And I told him, no, there are villages there. And I took them, that when they get to a ward there, they turn back because of security. And that's how we implemented that project. I came into politics. In the primaries, it was 13 of them that voted in my first tenure. They said they are leaders. Me, I just went around to see them normal. The luck I had, one woman just stood up. He said, before we conduct the primary, let each and every one of us tell us what they are going to do in the council and their background, where they are coming from. All of them spoke. I was the last person to depict. And when I started, one man said, well, collect the mic, and they said, let them vote. That was how I got 7 votes. 3 persons were supporting me, 4 persons were convinced after my speech. And that was how I came into the system. And I know what I suffered. I don't want to go into all that. I was not a friend to the chairman, because I would tell them the way it is. They would tell me, you are coming to do activism here. In our first budget, a leader of the party came to the council to hit the table that we have 24 hours to pass that budget. Or else they will send us home. I fought and I told them, Oga, it's not because of the money. I want to go through the process of passing the budget. How can I be a councillor? Would they even know how to pass budget? Just say pass it. I was able to convince him. I went to meet him in the office. And we went through this process. We came in our second tenure. Even in my second tenure, I became a leader without seeing anybody at all. I did not go and lobby anybody. Nobody. I didn't go to any leader's house. But what happened is this. They saw, in our first tenure, this thing also happened. Some people followed Oshomole. Right. Some of us followed Obaseki. And Obaseki was in charge. That's why I just said that the issue of the local government elections is a surprise to me. I have been a beneficiary. So I don't have the moral justification to condemn what they have also done. But the only thing is that when you find yourself in the place, what are you supposed to do? And not only the people like this join the system. You won't go anywhere. The people in the system are wicked people.
Right, okay, so you said
out of 12, you don't have 1 or 2.
All right, you said you were once a beneficiary. So now, are you talking against it because you are no longer part of the incumbent governor?
I also spoke against it. When I contested in my ward, I had a contestant. Even this last one, we have APC contested the election. Not that this one, not everybody, but APC contested the election. But I cannot tell you that the election, they were given the free hand to actually carry out what they were supposed to do. I can't deceive myself. They were also prevented at some point because some people feel that it's also our turn. That's why I said it's their turn. But in this your turn, why can't you sit down and look at it? Are you going to live on this earth forever? Some persons have conscience, some do not have.
Right, I mean, okay.
The few times I stayed as that council chairman leader, myself and the chairman, we don't even greet. We were indifferent because the brother was the governor. He felt he want to use the power to do what he do. I said no. So when this issue happened, people were telling me, somebody that had been fighting you, go and take over his position. I said no, it's not a justification to go and take over his position. It's not justified.
Okay, let me move back to Comrade Solomon.
What I'm trying to say is this.
Right.
Anyhow you get into this political office, because the people in charge are at home. They decide what happens there. Try to do the right thing. Okay, so that history will remember you.
Okay, I'm sure Comrade Solomon, you have a lot of things to talk about, and you also react to what he said, but just before you do that, so right now they're already in office, right, 18 of them, and I actually did see that one of them actually is 30-year-old and is quite young, and it's really a thumbs up to have young persons in power. So what do you think should be expected of them? What should they do, especially in the first 100 years in office? 100 days, right, 100 days in office. Perhaps they are not even informed or aware about what should be done.
Well, the 100 days is just a way of laundering money. What's 100 days? You know, let me advise them, because that's what you're asking me to do. My advice is that they should not take in the ways of their leaders, who obviously are leaders, because the end justifies the means. I'm glad that my brother is talking like this. Like I said, probably because of his background, because we've been comrades together over the years until he jackpad and became a bourgeois, and then and today he's welcome.
Perhaps he has seen the lights.
Yeah, of course, like a prodigal son.
Great.
But having said that, you know, the truth is this: they might be rejoicing, but there is a warning. Because if you ask me, I should have asked ESEC to disqualify the elections that happened in Esako West, where Jared Tenebe voted. He voted under the camera. That was electoral rigging. When he was working with this European Union stuff, if you listen carefully, if these politicians will learn, is that the products he had was his advertisement for his councillorship. And I take them back to Comrade Oshomole. That Adeso Oshomole's second tenure was easy for him because he had something to show in his first tenure. He practically had it so easy coming a second time. And that goes also for the governor. That it is not that, you know, jostling around and telling people that you have 2.5 million votes to deliver and coming to sing the no come to the people. Go and do the delivery that people refer to as dividend of democracy. They will naturally follow you. So if they want to remain in politics, they want to remain relevant, yes, your leaders will always come to steal from your council. But with the little that is left, try as much as you can to deliver to the people, because you have a longer way to go in politics.
Okay, Dr. Nai, you want to say something real quickly?
Well, the election has been conducted, winners have been declared, agendas have been set. What we want to see is that they should set the ball rolling from day one by having clear-cut agenda of what they want to do. My earnest advice to the council chairman is that have a list of the community needs of all the communities in your local government.
Right.
Attach financial costs to each of these needs. Every month, the littles that you can do based on what comes in, execute them to the benefit of the people.
Okay, well,
that's my earnest advice.
Absolutely. Well, because of the time, we have to leave the conversation here. Let's hope the councillors and also the local government chairman do the needful as regards everything that was said so far on this table. Well, thank you so much for joining us on The Beat today right here in our Benin studio. We now move over to Abuja studio for more conversation today on This Morning on ITV.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance,
yeah, it's still This Morning on ITV, bringing us to the Abuja Network studio, where we'll be looking at of course, what happened on Friday, which has to do with the rescue of 39 pupils and 5 teachers, you know, with the Orire Oyo State kidnap victims. And we've seen many persons commending the federal government, including the governor of Oyo State and some other, you know, prominent Nigerians, with a call that this be replicated in other areas where innocent Nigerians are taken hostage. And to do this, I have with me political analyst Segun Ajibulu. He will be discussing this issue via the internet, of course, Zoom. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ajibulu.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, I know that you have followed through with what has happened since on Friday, when we saw that at the X-handle of the president's aide, and of course, since then it has gone viral. Let us hear what you feel about it.
It's a very good news, and though some of us have been expecting what really happened, those of us that have been following the trends, and We are just praying that things work out the way it did, and those kids were there safely, and nothing happened to them. We'll be praying for that, and we thank God that things work out the way we want it to be. And kudos to our security apparatus. They did a fantastic job.
Believe that 56 days is, long to rescue those that are being taken hostage. What do you make of this?
Yeah, 56 days might be long, but it's better than losing any soul. Yeah, because when we talk about this type of, I keep on telling people each time I have an interview on this issue, that this we are fighting. We are not fighting a real war in Nigeria. We are fighting an unconventional war, and an unconventional war we need to fight it in an unconventional way. And one thing which I will say with this operation is I give kudos to as I've said before, I give kudos to our securities. They really work together because this is an intelligent-led operation, and that's how operations are supposed to work. Unlike what we used to have before, that our security forces are not communicating with each other. They were doing things independently. But with this, it was they really did a fantastic job. They cooperate together. They share the intelligent information. And our DSS, they did a fantastic job. And if you know how this operation works, you know it's not something that could be rushed. Because if they've rushed it, I bet we will have lost some of those kidnapped kids and their teachers.
I understand that the residents of that area were also part and parcel of it because they provided the much needed intelligence, which of course led to the success of the rescue. So in your own opinion, how do you think this can be sustained, especially when we have pockets of other kidnaps across the country?
Yes, as I've said, our securities, they work together. And as you said, the vigilantes, the local people, they work together with the army, with the special Navy force, the civil defense, and the police. They all work together. They share intelligence, and that's how that's how we are able to succeed in this operation. And as I've said unlike before, let me tell you what has been going on in the country. It's not that we can't do all this thing. We have what it takes. We have the best army in Africa. We are one of the best in the whole world. But there has not been a political will to tackle this issue from onset. Because I have story to share. I have friends that are in the army. When they tell you the story, their story, you will weep for what is going on in the country. Imagine a situation where our army, they did everything they could. They almost captured all this nuisance. By the time they do that, the order will come that they should retreat. And that's what has been going on. Because there's a political way to fight this war the way we are fighting it now. If not, all these riffraffs, they are not matched to our folks in Nigeria. They are not, they're not getting close. We would have wiped these guys out long time ago. Now, even before before they are really spread the way they are right now to all over the country. And as we said, imagine in Borno State, we still have some kids that are still in hostage. We have some children. We have a lot that are still I don't call them hostage. They are still kidnapped. So we still have a lot. This is just pray that this is going to be the beginning. What they did here, they should be replicated in the other area. They should be replicated in the northern part where they have where we have some of those kidnapped victims that they are still there in the bush.
what you know about other operations where you believe that what happened in Oyo with the rescue would have long also been achieved in other areas like Borno, Adamawa, of course, Zamfara and Kebbi. So what do you know? Who is always telling them to retreat?
Okay, let me tell you this. The way this operation, the way we were able to succeed, is through intelligence sharing. Number one, the leader of the kidnap group of those guys, the kidnappers, I believe one of them was arrested in Adamawa. Their leader was arrested in Adamawa, and the others were arrested. Their family. Sorry, their family, because what they did was to arrest their family. You did this to other family, yes, your family will not also have sleep. So the first thing they did was going around, arrest all their family, their brother, their wife, their sisters, anyone they could get hold. They put them somewhere in detention. They made them talk to those kidnappers that if you kill any of these people that are in your custody, the rest assured your family will go for it too. You know, at the first initial stage, they were bringing out a demand. They want this, they want that. When they know that, the government is not succumb to their demand, they said, okay, they want us to, they want their leader, I think the name of their leader is Abu Bara and Mahmouda. They want the two of them to be released. That if they release, they are ready to release all those the case. And the government said, no, we are not going to do that. So, the one thing which the government did again, which the security did again, because this is 56 days, a long day. If the government have not acted, this case will have been transferred all over like what we have during the Shipo girl. They will have transferred them over, they will have taken them to different places. But what they did is they blocked their routes. They made sure they are not able to get out of this Old Oyo forest, Old Oyo parks. They made sure they are there. They made sure they are not allowed to get out from that area. So they snowed them in. And when the government gave them the 72 hours ultimatum to release the girl or face the consequence, they thought the governments are playing. And the one thing which the government, which the security did this time, which everybody has been saying is not possible, is to cut the communication. They cut the communication through to them. They only talk to them. The government control the communication means. The government, the security talk to them whenever they want to talk to them. They make sure they are unable to get to outside world, and they cut off all the means of maybe the way they get the food and everything. They made sure that was cut off. So they really snowed them in. And when the 72-hour ultimatum came up and they let them know that we have what it takes to take you out. Maybe they thought they were joking, because as I understand, several, we don't know how many of them, how many were there, but I was told that a lot of them were killed. And 8 of them were arrested. So it was, and if this had been going on, I'm sure those kidnappers in the other area, if they hear what is going on right now, I'm sure that they too will be thinking twice that, okay, it's not going to be game as usual. It's not going to be the way it used to be. Now it seems that a new sheriff have already taken over. There's a new sheriff in town. And as I've said before, for any successful operation, you need intelligent guarding. I used to work in the military setup in America. We call it mapping American mapping. I forgot the name. Something mapping, and before you enter the office there, you will see on the world that we map the world for those who defend our nation, which means those who are fighting on the field, they were fighting based on intelligence gathering from those that are in the office. So those who are on the field here, they were feeding them the information. This is what is going on, this is what is going on, this is what you need to do. It's not just we just send people to the bush to go and be looking for people that you don't know their whereabouts. And this is what we have been doing. Believe me, my story that I was telling you the other time is very sad. I have about 3 different friends in the army. They gave me the same story. Some of them said it's fed up, he just want to get out of the army, he want to find a place to go. Because
Zibulu, you are speaking. You are speaking to Nigerians, and some of the things
I know
you are
what
saying
I'm talking
is
about.
noted.
I'm talking the fact.
So that particular aspect, many people have been talking about it, that it is about political will. And that is why the war in the Northeast is far from being prosecuted. So since you know some of these things, let us into it. It can guide future discourse.
Okay. You know what I was telling you is, when you hear the same story from 3 different people and they tell you the same thing, you know there's element of truth in it. When they tell you that they have been sent there to go and capture these kidnappers, and when they're getting close to them, order will come that they should retreat. How do you think they will feel? They will be very, they will be demoralized. And that's what happened. That's why this thing is taking so long. But you hear what I hear something recently, because I'm now in America. I hear that the chief of army staff gave another now that you should shoot on sight. Don't wait for any. Don't wait till when you will tell me that somebody is waiting for an order. And let me tell you another story that happened in my local government. Let me tell you this. There was a kidnapper going on. People came to town and said there's some kidnapper operating in the bush. They went to, there's army station not far from the area. Do you know what happened? The guy that went to report this to the army, he told them that something is going on. Know what he was told? They said they need to get the order from the above before they can move to the bush. And the guy said, "Oh, you're waiting for order from the above? I will go there myself. I'm going to fight them." Unfortunately, the guy was killed because he was the only one. He was expecting the army to follow him immediately. He told them that he knew where these guys were hiding. "Please follow me, let's go." But the army were waiting for the order from above. But I understand this will no longer be happening. This is from my local government in Ekiti. So this waiting from the order from above, or wait from the order either to move or to stay, I understand that is no longer going to be applicable, which is a good thing. And that's why I said it's not going to be, it's not going to be party as usual for the kidnappers again in the country. And I hope and I pray that I'm right.
Yeah, sorry for that technical hitch, Mr. Segun Ajibulu and our viewers. Okay, if you are still there, Mr. Ajibulu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you just mentioned that there's a new sheriff in town. I'm sure you are referring to the president, President Bola Tinubu. So with the new sheriff in town, what?
When I said that, I'm talking about the new approach, not individual per se.
Yeah, the new approach under President Bola Tinubu.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, that is not so under the president.
With the success story in Oyo, how can it be deployed in Kebbi State, where so many children, schoolgirls from Yauri are still in the hands of the bad guys? You go to Plateau, Adamawa, Bochi, we have in Borno. So, I mean, there are so many. So how can the success story be used on these other areas?
I'm sure by now our security officers and everybody, they will be planning the step. Let's say that Oyo step A, they'll be going on step B right now. I know now, you know what we have in the country. We don't have enough forces to man the whole country at the same time. It has to be one piece at a time. And right now, we know they have new let me say apparatus, new machines, new vehicle to work with, and understand some are still coming very soon. We're going to get some more new deliveries of equipment very, very soon. So with this, I'm sure that all this kidnapping and everything will be things of the past. And mind you, again, the issue of the state police, that we know, we don't need to react when it happens. We need to make sure we don't allow it to happen. And that's where I'm very, very happy with this issue of state police. Because the one that are there right now in the bush, that are there with the kidnappers, I'm sure the government will be working day and night to see how these guys could be rescued. As I told you, around the time when the case in Oyo were kidnapped, the same thing happened in Borno State. Around the same time, some kids, and they were still there with the kidnappers, which have to be rescued. So I just pray and I hope that though the Oyo's one might be much more easier than going towards the north, because if you get to Niger forest, man, the place is so big. Unlike what we have in Oyo, Oyo Park, that is just about 2,500 square meter. Those ones are gigantic forests. That we not only need intelligent gathering, we need some gadget to be able to pinpoint where those kids are, where those kidnappers are. And it's not going, and it has been a while. I told you before, they made sure that these kids in Oyo, in this park, were not allowed to be moved. The army, everybody, they move swiftly. But some of these ones that in the other part of the country, some of them have been there for months, for 6 months. Some of them have been in the kidnapper hand for 6 months. So they have their job cut out for them. But I pray and I hope, they will use another strategy which is different from the one that is used in Oyo, to make sure they get all those kidnappers released without paying a dime in any ransom. Ransom.
You just raised an issue which has to do with manpower. You know, before the president came in, during the campaign period, he did say that he will employ about 5 million, military personnel. So what is happening with the effort to increase the numerical strength of security personnel?
That's a quick question. Thank you. I'm sorry to ask you a question. If you have 1,000 people in a hall and one person with a gun just come in there, it will overpower everybody in that hall. It's not the number that really matters. It matters, but not really what we should be talking about. Is the equipment, the modern equipment, to be able to pin those guys down and take them away. So yes, the government is working on making sure that enough equipment, enough what do you call it, enough artilleries were imported to the country. As I said, some are in already, and I know some are still coming. And this thing is not, some of this thing doesn't take a day to build. Some of them take years when you order it, when you order for it. It might take 2 years. Some of them take a year or some of them take 3 years before you can get your order. And what's the use of having the ammunition without being able to use it? And many of our, and let me tell you this, many of our military men, they are in overseas right now getting trained on how to use these ammunitions. So it's coming. And maybe when it comes, as I've said, you don't need to have thousands of farming. If 100 of farming may do what 1,000 of farming will do with that equipment. Equipment really matter.
Mr. Ajibola, you believe that we should continue to wait for the orders that are being placed for military hardwares. But if you look at it, Nigeria, we often pride ourselves as the giant of Africa. Several decades after independence, with so much resources, should we continue to order for those military hardware? Is it not time Nigeria, have a system of producing what it is consuming, including military hardware?
Thank you. That's unfortunately, you're very correct, my brother. And that's part of the problem we'll be having in the country. And if you go through where we're supposed to be today and where we are, you will shelter for the country, for our country. Because some of these places where we are going to order this equipment from, they were way behind us during the independence. But we find ourselves where we find ourselves. And as they say, the journey of 1,000 might take, start by taking the step. Yeah, the present government is taking the step. And that's why we say that things are, this is time of resetting. Because as you said, I understand some of our military, they are now in the process of producing some of this equipment. They're working on it. But we need something that is that is more urgent. It's a different thing if we are not in this situation. But I know there's artillery department that are really working there. I read it somewhere, some that our military are working on producing some of this equipment themselves. But as I've said, it doesn't make any sense wasting all these boys' life chasing people that have better equipment than them. And, at the end, we come back loser again. So it needs to be properly planned and properly executed. I'm very much 100% with you that it's a shame. It's not even only in, if you want to, it's something, it's not only in military artillery or there's in many areas of our life in Nigeria, we are way behind where we are supposed to be today. No, I was
Okay,
joking.
I must thank you.
Recently.
Thank you so much for your time with us, Mr. Segun Ajibulu. You know, the time is usually short.
Okay.
Some other time we'll have you again.
Thank you. I thought we still go to the area of state police, but next time.
Yeah, it's the time. We're moving to Lagos now for the same discussion with our Lagos Network Studios. Time with us on this discussion segment. Now we are moving straight to Lagos on same topic. Of course, Patricia Gibber is standing by.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. Abducted Oyo pupils, teachers freed without ransom after security agencies arrested terrorists, wives, mothers, and close relatives. Former DSS operative Sheyi Adetayo claims. And the military, how multiple arrests forced terrorists to release adopted Oyo pupils and teachers unconditionally. This is coming from the Nigerian Army. Good morning and thank you for joining us on the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. And this morning we'll be looking at the release of the adopted students and teachers. After 56 days from Iriri community in Oyo State. To do this with me in the studio is Dr. Well, he has said he wants to be addressed as Community Sam Wasinda. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Did I get that right?
Citizen.
Okay, Citizen Sam Wasinda. That's how he wants to be addressed, since he will be, representing the citizens of Nigeria. So, Citizen Sam Wasinda, you're welcome to the program as usual.
Thank you very much.
I hope it was peaceful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we just heard what the military said and, how the release was planned. That's after 56 days. Just run us through what you think about that operation.
Well, from the first and foremost, kudos to our Nigerian, kudos to our security agency, because one thing about we, the citizens of Nigeria, we must learn to applaud the government when they do well, in as much as we criticize them and we're doing something that is wrong. Now, on this, we need to really, really give a big thumbs up to the Nigerian military and the Joint Security Agency for this awesome work they have done. 56 days is actually a long time, but it's better it goes this way and we get them rescued than in the situation where we would have lost them even after staying very long. And it's coming against the backdrop where citizens are almost at the point of moving on. To an extent, we're almost like going to move on the issue, like it's one of those incidents that will just kidnap them, will make noise after a while, and then before you know it, the matter fills you out, and that's the end of it. I think for the first time in a long while, the government and the agency approved the citizen wrong by going forth to ensure that these victims are rescued. Now, when you listen to the information that is in the public, how that operation was also carried out, you really agree with me, just like I always say in this studio, that we have one of the best security agencies if politicking is taken out of the operation. And you could see how this operation was actually carried out. It was joined. We have the army, we have the air force, the police, we have Omoteko, we have vigilantes, and you could see DSS. You could see how the coordination was
even the people of Oriri.
Even the people themselves. You could see how the coordination was carried out and how smooth. Even though we lost a life, which I'm going to still talk about that, much later, but you could see how smooth the operation was carried out. No damage, at least everybody was rescued that were alive and they met at that point. So that tells us that when they donated, security networking, we can achieve much more. So this is sign and a proof that we can actually conquer these people if the governments are determined, to do so. So in this, you could see clear determination that the government actually wanted to get these people rescued, and that's what we have seen. So once again, kudos to the Nigerian.
Okay, so Nigerian Army had said that no ransom was paid for this rescue. what do you make out of it? Because usually we hear the federal government negotiating with the terrorists, the kidnappers, to pay some ransom to release, the adopters. But in this case, they have said no ransom was paid. What do you make out of that? Not just the ransom. The negotiation they were having forth and back for the 56 days was that their kingpin who was arrested should be released. And we are also hearing that he is still in their custody. They did not release it. No ransom was paid. And they have released the teachers and the pupils.
Yeah,
What's your make on
for
that?
me, that can be very possible. But even though, the citizen will still want to drag such because of how such case have been handled, in time past. Again, this also proves that the government of the day, particularly the current administrator, need to do much more because the trust of the citizen, on their system of governance had been betrayed. And so even when they are coming to say this is exactly what happened, it is difficult for the citizen, to accept that, considering the fact that this is what we always hear. And then after a day or two, you hear a counter, information. This one is saying, okay, even currently now, some are saying rescue. Some are saying release. Do you understand me? Now, we should be able to have a uniform language. If it is release, let us know it is release. If it is rescue, we should know it is rescue. But now we are playing between two words, and this is always the problem. And I think the current administration has a problem of communication. And I don't know, for whatever reason, they are poor when it comes to communication. They don't tell you how they do their things. You could see, imagine, even at this operation, people are still trying to question the process simply because the information are not properly communicated. And when you talk, you say some of the information should be kept for security reasons and purpose. But yes, there are certain parts that should be kept. We agreed. But you should also let us know, sometimes there's nothing wrong when they were going for this operation. They should have a body cam. So that while they are doing the operation, we could even see some of the actions that actually really take place, just to convince the citizen that that was on. But coming to say ransom was not paid, I want to believe that truly ransom may not have been paid because of the approach, they gave it by trying to, even though it is against our law, but sometimes they had to bend it just to achieve, because one of the things they said was that they went off the family and the relatives of the terrorists. You understand me now? So it became the case of, okay, we'll also show you a video. If you kill anybody, they will kill your own too. So it becomes like a win situation. So me, I believe at that point, I didn't talk about ransom because when they came to them, on how to clamp down on, how this approach will go. They may not get much if they still help back to the family. So it's now looking like government is becoming like a terrorist. But like I said, does what happened or what will happen to the family, of the terrorists. But I don't think much might be done on them. But I know a lot will be done. Concentration will be done on those ones that are you get from
Was there looking at the implications for the fight against insecurity after this adopted pupils and teachers of the breed? What do you think all of this make out? What is the implication for the fight against insecurity? Is it going to be positive, negative? What is the operating has been taking place?
Well, for me, it's the government. They decide to go on the way of the situation. away their eyes from campaign and use this as their campaign strategy. What I mean by that is that get more people rescued. We still have those in Borno State.
I was going to come to that, but can we have the pictures and the videos displayed of the children that has been rescued and the teachers in we're talking? Okay, so that's the head teacher who was actually arrested with the children. But Nigerians are saying something, Dr. Wasinda. So Nigerians are saying, where did they get these clothes from? They were kidnapped with uniforms. So how come they have changed, and why are they just saying thank you to the president? So these are questions making rounds in social media.
Yes, it goes back to what I said. I said the problem of this current administration is communication. And you see, because their communication system in pushing out narrative out there, it is not properly well explained, detailed. You always find such thing. The people are part of looking malnourished, but they are looking very neat,
very neat. Yes.
As if they are actually coming, not really from the bush.
Exactly.
And the picture was supposed to narrate that they were rescued. This is where they met them.
Yes.
And then they put them inside the vehicle. And after 56 days, some of them are even on something that looks like white.
Yes, and the white is very clean.
The white is very, very clean. So this is why I said we have a problem, that the federal government, the current administration have a problem, of communication, because it doesn't really tell like these people are just released from the bush. But
so
like
what are you saying? Do you think they had been released and they were taken somewhere to really clean up before bringing them out?
Well, it's possible that they might have done that, but like I said, it boils back to the communication. What is given to us is contradicting the images we are seeing. You claim that you met them, rescued them, put them in the bus, and then you brought them, to the public. But for me, I feel that a lot could have also transpired that the government did not tell us. I would have resorted to, looking this.
But we're saying that we have seen a video of the lieutenant that was killed.
Yes.
We saw a video where a bike that went to carry his corpse. A video, not even a picture. So that's the kind of video we're expecting to see of these rescued pupils, not this clean. We're expecting to see a video of them being brought out from the kidnappers' den, just like the officer that was killed, the video where his colleagues were carrying him on a bike to take him out from the bush. So that's what we're expecting. What do you think about it?
We did not see the gun battles now. We were told that they neutralized and arrested. That's what I'm saying, that there was not have gone with body cam. Why they are doing this operation, we are seeing some certain things. But like I said, when you challenge them, they will tell you that there are certain things that they need to keep out for security, reasons. And this is they are keeping out. It's raising a whole lot of questions. That's why I said, I want to just give them the benefit of that, in the sense that the children have been rescued. But if we want to take our time to start analyzing, one after the other, and trying to look at things the way they should, then we're going to have a problem. Because for me, we should celebrate the rescue.
Okay, Wasinda, let's quickly go on a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay. Olumide.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet. Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people. This dance is a vibrant mix of traditions, arts and beliefs, deeply rooted in the country's diverse ethnic groups and their rich history. The dance has artistic expressions depicting the people's history. Benin people have been famous for bronze and brass work, some of which is said to date back from the 13th century, especially ivory and wood carving. In Benin, the people dance to show respect, honor, dignity, which they honor. They dance to show royalty, as natives are seen in their numbers around their body depicting the symbol of kingship.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in.
From what we got at Damawa, far north, just to get the family of some of these people. This is how effective an intelligence can actually play role. And the intelligence, for me, is not even the force that the military used. It was the intelligence the military relied on, to apply or deploy the force they used in order to rescue these people. So for me, intelligence plays a whole lot, and we hope to see even much more on that, because some of these terrorists, like I always say each time I'm opportune to be here, is that they cannot be stronger, smarter, and more advantage than our Nigerian military force. That's the honest truth. But you see, this intelligence gathering, and for it that to also happen effectively, is just exactly what has happened now. You could see the synergy of the that's what really brought about this whole victory. It's not just the military alone.
Okay, some people are saying that the military operation was easier in Oyo State due to the absence of leakage of information. Probably this time around the information of the operation was kept really, really tight. So there was no leakage of information to the terrorists or to the kidnappers.
Yes, that's the role intelligence actually play. So you don't have what I believe they did. I'm not a security expert, but it's like immediately they grab you, they do that quietly and codedly. So nobody will even know that somebody was probably missing. They just only discover that somebody that's supposed to communicate an information, they are not reaching out. They couldn't reach him, and nobody is really giving a clear light whether there was an operation that was carried out, whether there was an arrest, that was made. So that automatically broke their network flow, and that's the power of intelligence, because that's where the intelligence really, really comes.
Okay, so what is stopping the military from having this kind of operations in other states? Because over the weekend we also had the attack in Benue, I think in Plateau State too. So why can't our military use these same tactics for these other states? We still have the Chibok girls, some of them still out there. I'm sure they are women by now. We still have other children.
Even the ones that were kidnapped in Borno about the same time with this, this particular one. Now, you see, for me, I think what also necessitated this were two factors. Number one, the pressures of the citizen. You see, the challenge from the north, I'm from the north, like I always say, when that kidnapping also took place in Borno State, we didn't hear noise like we had in this part of, the
Is
nation.
it that those parts of the country
it has always been like, there's a way they accept things, and they just feel that one day things will turn overnight. And now I also heard that they are trying to even politicize it. Some people are saying it's because this one happened within the region where the president actually came from, and stuff like that. But for me, it is not true. You need to speak up if you need help. The pressure that was mounted on the government, the government became threatened, and they knew that this would sabotage their efforts.
So do we have to mount pressure on the government each time citizens are being kidnapped?
I think that's the method that will work. It's not supposed to be so, but unfortunately that's where we find ourselves. Why? Is because this current administrator, they are after 2027. They want to win election. They want to come back the second time. So they need the citizen to continue to mount pressure. See, the pressure is not just on security. Whatever the citizen want or need, we need to mount a pressure. That's what it shows. It is that pressure that had necessitated this whole, because they knew that their integrity, even the position of the president on this region is at stake if these people were not rescued. So I expect the Northerners to also do the same, rather than trying to politicize it, that he actually did that and allowed that to happen because it was his region. It is not true. It has nothing to do with that, because he's the president of not just this region. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
That's true. So let's look at the insecurity, generally. How significant is this development in the border fight against insecurity?
Well, the development is positive. if only the government will allow them to sustain the momentum. I also have the Chief of Defense Staff made a statement, I think towards the weekend, when he said the military are now well equipped, and that he's saying that whenever they see a terrorist, they should not wait for order. They should just shoot aside.
Yes.
So I think for me, if the statement is not garnished with politicking, because somewhere along the line, it will be watered down when it's coming down, then I think we are already on course. It shows that the government are determined. And you see, why the government needs to be very, very determined is that they are playing with 2027. They think they have gotten it right. But the citizens are the ones to decide. Not all these politicians who are paying lip service, who are after their pockets, who are saying what the president loves to hear because they are benefiting from the government, coffers. You see, the citizens who are feeling it will determine who will govern them in the next election. And you see, I keep saying it and I'll continue to say Nigerians are getting wiser by the day, and the impact of what is affecting them is telling them that they don't need to sleep. They need to be more decisive and don't leave this in the hand of the government. And that's why I want to say this morning that the current administration must be intentional. For me, if they can even take out their eyes for a moment on this year 2027 and concentrate by taking advantage of what has happened and duplicate it, replicate it in other states, I can tell you for free that the citizen may be tempted to have a rethink on some certain areas.
Wasinda, why did you say may? I mean, because the citizens don't care about the personality of whoever is coming to be the president. They just want the right thing done.
Yes. Why I use the word that they may, because this is one out of so many. We still have the case of poverty. Poverty is another problem of its own. But this is one of the most pressing. You are poor and then you are not also secure. The combination of these two things is like living in hell while you are living in a mirage palace. So that was why I used the word may. So this, for me, the government should leverage on this because this could give them an advantage. For me, it's a campaign too. It depends on how they look at it, because the moment more people are rescued, and then this issue of insecurity is dropping, down by the day, I think it will be a plus to the government. There's hardly people that hear even when you say, but the people are looking the way they are looking, like it looks like they've been rescued before now and stuff. But everybody admit that they were rescued. Yeah. And that is the most important thing. What we've been fighting for, whether they look dirty or clean, is not important. What is important is that these people have been rescued. And rescued 56 days. 56 days. So that's a whole lot. So it's something we should celebrate as Nigerians. But why we say citizen, they brace up to know that it is now their work at it.
Okay, Nigerians are actually celebrating. We are all celebrating. We're grateful to God that these children, the teachers, came back home safely. So would you say the rescue indicates progress, or does the adoption expose continuing weakness in the fight of terrorism?
For me, I think it's mixed, because while we're celebrating this, we just heard about Benue and Plateau State. So it's like you are winning on one side, and then we're also having the same case repeated, on another side. But like I said, Nigeria, the government should capitalize on this. And what are they capitalizing on? The power of networking, synergy of the security agencies. The moment we are able to drive that, this same result, it is not rocket science. It is what, if they put in place, it will be replicated in all parts of the state. And then the issue of insecurity will start dying naturally. Take the government anything. All they needed to do is to take away politicking from this, so become decisive on what they want to do about the life of the city. So the president, I think at this point, he should leverage and capitalize on this, amount pressure, and ensure that this tempo is sustained and build upon, so that it will be replicated in other parts that we're having insurgent, and see how they can clamp down on them. Because this shows that we have the power, we have the might, we have all it takes, and that it shows that we have a gallant, agency that can actually go after these people, if politicking is taken out of.
Wow, if politicking is taken out of this. So are you now saying it should create a role, local security?
For me, community is even the number one, because these people that adopt people actually live within a community.
How would you say the community played, what role would you say the community helped in playing in this rescue?
I'm sure to an extent they help in, information. There's no way you would have ruled out. You see, there was also a role of hunters. Hunters are usually from a community. So that's a role. Okay, so they actually could have told them, giving them an idea of this is where we we know that most likely they are, or this is where we have cited. You know, hunters can go a mile you least expected. You understand what I'm saying now? So they could cover some things that possibly that since for now, I don't think the deployment of drones are actually that effective now. But you see, the role of the communities plays a role because these people live within them. They can actually give out an information. Again, that is when they've come to the point where they trust the security agency. Because you see, the issue of trust for me is still a problem. They said if you see something, you say something. But how are you sure that when you say something, they will not use what you say, you know, and come after you? But I think at this point, the community themselves finally saw the readiness and they've been able to build that. That's why I don't want to say that in that 56 days, I want to believe that government were actually working. This thing didn't happen overnight. And part of the work was what convinced the people in that community to an extent to believe that I think these people are in for something more real than what we think. Otherwise, if they don't get it right, but you see they neutralize and then they made an arrest, people coming back to climb on that village is very, very high. But with this move, it shows that, you know, that. And then I want to believe that the government will not be stupid to evacuate themselves completely. I want to believe that they will somehow still leave a security presence, somehow, in case those people want to regroup, you know, and return back and stuff like that. So these are some of the things we want to see. And that will assure not just the communities, it will also assure the individual citizen of Nigeria that when he sees a move or a sign of insecurity, he can actually voice out. But that, like I said, a lot has to still be done. Security agency can gain and win the trust of the citizen.
Okay, that we very recently, or even in the past, it's always been school attacks. More schools attacks. Yes, they attack communities, especially in Plateau State, but more of school attacks. How will the school be protect themselves better from the future attacks?
Well, the school protecting themselves from future attacks, I don't really see if they have much to do because we are dealing with people who are terrorists, we are dealing with bandits. These are people who are armed. I don't think there is any law that permits, you know, any school to be able to, you know, employ such things. So for me, I think the government needs to re-strategize that approach because they see that as a soft ground. They've tried it before. You know, this is not the first time we'll be talking about school attack. You know, you remember even when they were going for, is it WAEC or JAM? You know, like that. So they said that, look, they say open to be able to make fortune. So I think that government should start thinking 10 times ahead of these guys because they now discover that it's like, this is the new trend of the approach. So by the beefing of security measure, you know, around each of some of these schools so that if they have enough food soldiers or they don't want to place so much food soldiers on ground, but they can put some interns here and there so that the moment there is a sign of any movement and stuff, I think then don't also forget, you see, this proaction is also very, very important because in some cases we have also had that sometimes the school had even informed some security agency, but the incident will still happen before the security will eventually come. And don't forget, there was also an incident that up to also have not yet been answered. The school wrote, I can't remember where now, that they had that there was going to be an attack. They deployed some security men, and when the security men left, barely 30 minutes or thereabout, those people came. Up to today, they have not been able to tell us who made that call for those people to have left. So for me, I think men should look at security schools by using intel, not necessarily a visible force men on ground, so that because the moment they know that okay, these people are here, they will change their strategy. But intels, you know, they are like an undercover. So let's have more of them, you know, appointed or assigned in some specific kind of school that most likely, you know, they suspect. Nigerians are very intelligent, so if they put their graft, they'll be able to know what you know is going to happen, just like what they did at Oyo, and they got it.
Okay, lessons must have been learned from all of this. So what lessons should federal government and state government learn from this? Because in all of this operation for 56 days, some lessons must have been learned. So what do you think the federal government should pick from these lessons as federal government and state government? Because right now the fight for kidnapping is not just left for the federal government. So which lessons do you think should have been picked from all of these operations?
Well, one of the lessons that should be picked is the coordination and the cooperation of the state and the federal. You see, in the case of Oyo, we almost have a fallout, in the sense that the governor at some point was almost making, or he made a statement like it was when he declared his presidential ambition that incident took place. So are you trying to point a finger at a direction?
That's because if you remember, Nelson Wike actually said to him that he was going all the time trying to respond to the kidnapping?
You see, for me, I don't really think our security agencies are the problem. It's the focus of the people in power currently, the current administration. If you say security is your focus, like I said, I keep saying it and I'll continue to say, if this government decide that they want to go after these people, between 24 to 72 hours, these people can be brought down. Security agency will go by the command of the commander-in-chief. They will not do things on their own. Don't forget that the chains is still there. When you see, you have to call this one have to clear this, it has to now get to Mr. President, Mr. President will not give an order. Do you understand? That process sometimes takes.
No, but now we have heard shoot aside.
That's what I said. I hope it will not be watered down. It is not the first time we have had shooter. The president himself went to play Tuesday and assured them that this evil will not repeat. Didn't the evil repeat? Is another one not happened recently that we're talking about now? That's the number one man. Not to talk about the Minister of Defense. That's the problem. So I think politicking should be removed. If there are people who are benefiting from it, they should be fished out. Add them as bandits. For me, they are the real bandits. The people who will not carry out the command, the instruction, the directive of the president when it comes to insecurity, they should be tagged bandits. They should be tagged terrorists. And then the terrorism dealing, that law should carry out on them first and foremost because they are the cause of this problem. That's why I said, I heard him when he said, don't wait for any command. But I can still tell you that the possibility, if it's watered down, if you dare do that, before the man will get to know if what has already been done. See, this country is becoming very interesting now. It's another world on its own. We run our government separate from any other thing. How do you explain? In a system where we are, I'm sorry to digress a little, we're having a fake agency who is operating within the federal government environment
and has a
budget and had met with different people, and you think that somebody will make a statement and say do this and it will be carried out. No, now the system is so corrupt that until we start this banditry from among the people who are making sure that they create the bottleneck so that these instructions are not carried out, we'll continue to have this problem. Don't forget that even the president once said that he knows that even among his people they are trying to eliminate him. These are the people we should even start thinking of dealing with them. When an instruction, a directive is given by the number one man, anybody that does not carry it, I think we should start seeing them as the bandit themselves. And then they should start dealing with them from that perspective. Because you cannot tell me that you had a bottleneck when the number one man, who primary assignment is to secure life and property, and has brought you in to carry out what he said, and you are coming to allow it happen. I think heads should start rolling. Not just of the bandit, but of some of the people that are in position to make it happen. When any life is lost, I think some of these people, they should not only be caused to question it, their head should probably roll. Maybe by the time we start having it that way, they will have a sense and rethink, rather than just sitting there in their AC offices and then just thinking that because they get some things from the federal coffers, everybody is fine. Citizens are not fine. We are not sleeping with our two eyes closed. Not because the president does not want to work or he has not given a directive, but some people are trying to force it. Such people should be seen as bandits and should be treated as bandits.
Okay, I don't know. To these criminals, to these bandits, do you think this rescue would have sent to their group?
Well, it will send, but I don't know if it sends much. That's because they also understand how our system works. Today we are hot, tomorrow we are cold. Next tomorrow we are hot, next tomorrow we are cold. That's what I just said now. We're just talking about rescue. Another incident has happened. The one that is reported. You don't know, countless incidents happen on a daily basis. It is only the media and social media can capture that we tell. And I can tell you that much more happened than we were told, that we are informed. So you understood that, see, today the armies are on top of their game and they may go to relax for another longer while. So within that opening, they can start. They are ever ready. So at any time they can strike and get away with it. So I think our government should be more of the ever ready than even them. But it seems like because of the politicking that is in it, today we are on top of it, tomorrow, is something else. So this is the challenge for me that we need to really...
while the operation was taking place in Oriri, in Oyo State, we also heard of some kidnapping up there in the north. What will be your advice for the military? Should they just move this kind of intelligence straight to Borno State and Plateau State and Benue State, because we heard in these three states they were kidnapped?
No, they don't need to move them. We have them everywhere. There's no place that we don't have DSS. There's no place we don't have we don't have police, we don't have vigilante, we don't have hunters. All they needed to do is send the same template to the same people. You see this thing, duplicate it in your state. It's working. And that's all. You don't need to be moving people from place to place, because again, moving them is even risky. Because if these people are familiar with this terrain, you are now moving them to the north. It has to take them probably another 6 months or thereabout to understand the terrain, and a lot of damage would have been done. And then by the time they finish, you have to move them to another state again. So for me, we have these same people all over the federation. Send them the template, let them duplicate it, and then run with it. It's as simple as that.
In 1 minute, looking ahead, what practical steps can reduce insecurity across Nigeria in 1 minute?
For me, the practical step is simple. The government should be more decisive and should be tough. Clamp down on those who are not in tune and in not carrying out the directive and the instruction of the president when it comes to security. Call them to question, call them to book. Like I said, handle them as terrorists. Let's begin to see them that they are the main enemy than the ones in the bush. And then that will begin to solve our problem.
Thank you so much, Citizen Sam Wasinda, for finding time to join us this morning on ITV. Yes. To our citizens out there, please remain safe, and especially to Lagos citizens, please stay safe from the rain, from the floods, and if you don't have to go out, don't go out. The floods are actually heavy here in Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Patricia Uremugebros.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome to the news update on Independent Television. I am Anuluwakpo Stevens. Edo Independent Electoral Commission has declared candidates of the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, winners of Saturday's chairmanship elections across 18 local government areas. Chairman, Edo State Independent Electoral Commission, Sir Jonathan Ifobuka, announced the results of the election while speaking with newsmen in Benin City on Sunday. The report is presented by Efosa Wangwe.
Chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, Sir Jonathan Ifobuka, said the APC also won all 192 councillorship seats in the election. The SCEC chairman expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the returning officers, saying they discharged their statutory responsibilities professionally, impartially, and in accordance with the law, noting that the election was conducted peacefully across the state despite minor operational challenges in a few locations. He lauded Governor Monday Okpebholo for providing an enabling environment for the Commission to discharge its constitutional responsibilities. The chairman also commended political parties, candidates, traditional rulers, religious leaders, civil society organizations, community leaders, youths, women, groups, and the electorate for their peaceful conduct during the election.
The All Progressive Congress won all the 18 local government chairmanship positions and all the 192 councilship seats contested in the election.
The SCEC boss praised the Nigerian police force and other security agencies for maintaining law and order while acknowledging the role of the media, election observers, and SCEC staff, including electoral officers, returning officers, presiding officers, ICT personnel, and logistics teams for ensuring the successful conduct of the poll. He urged political actors to work together in the interest of grassroots development and advised aggrieved parties to seek redress through lawful channels. The SCEC chairman congratulated the elected chairmen and councillors, urging them to see their victory as a call to selfless service, accountability, and inclusive governance.
We appreciate His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, for providing an enabling environment that allows the Commission to discharge its constitutional and statutory responsibilities independently.
Sir Ifobuka said certificate of return will be presented to the elected chairmen and councillors on Monday. From Benin, Fosa Wangwe, ITV News.
In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has shifted deadline for political parties to submit the names and credentials of candidates seeking to contest the 2027 presidential and National Assembly elections. The electoral body announced that parties now have until midnight on Tuesday, July 14th, to complete the process, extending the earlier deadline of Saturday, July 11th. Explaining the decision, INEC said the extension followed appeals from political parties that had encountered difficulties meeting the deadline. In a statement issued on Sunday, the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, said the request was formally conveyed through the Inter-Party Advisory Council. According to him, IPAC sought additional time on behalf of parties that were yet to complete the submission of their candidate details through the Commission's portal. INEC noted that the extension is intended to give all eligible parties a fair opportunity to comply with the requirements of the electoral process while remaining within the framework of the law. Now back here in Edo State, where the state governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, says the ongoing reconstruction of the Benin Sapele with concrete pavement is designed to last up to 80 years before requiring major maintenance. Governor Okpebholo, who made a remark while inspecting the project in Benin City, expressed satisfaction with the pace and quality of the work. William Siama has the details.
Governor Monday Okpebholo described road projects as a durable investment in the state's infrastructural development process. The governor said President Bola Tinubu remained committed to ensuring that projects across the country were completed on schedule because funding has been made available.
It's a quality job they are doing here. What you are seeing today is because somebody has labored to raise the money. That is why you are seeing the development in Edo today. Mr. President is not sleeping over this and is working to make sure that project deliverables are delivered at a good time because funds are there. And that is what you are seeing. And it's a quality job that will last for at least 80 years before we can start thinking about maintenance.
Some residents praised the governor for the ongoing reconstruction, saying it had eased traffic congestion and improved movement along the busy highway. Mrs. Patoge said motorists and commuters had previously endured long hours in traffic on the road, but that this situation had improved significantly since work began. A trader commended the quality of the project, describing it as a major improvement for road users in the state. William Siama, ITV News.
Away from there now to Delta State, where the State Police Command has apprehended one Kelvin Ogaga, a motorcyclist operator at Ughelli, in Ughelli local government area, for alleged kidnap of a 3-year-old child. Wari correspondent Benga Hamed tells us more.
It was a pathetic situation when a motorcyclist operator who was engaged to convey a 3-year-old child to school turned out to be a kidnapper. According to the public relations officer, Delta State Police Command SP Edafe Bryce said the suspect, Kevin Ogaga, was engaged to pick and drop the child from school. However, he allegedly adopted the puppy and demanded 2 million naira ransom from the parents. The family was able to raise 500,000 naira. The police image maker disclosed that the parents had earlier reported the matter to the police at Ughelli Divisional Headquarters, which prompted the operatives to launch an intelligent driving and arrested the suspects.
He did this job for about 3 weeks before the devil came into him, according to him. On that fateful day, he took this child. Instead of taking the child to school, he took the child to wherever he took the child to and started calling the parents with another line that the child has been kidnapped and they should bring the ransom of 2 million naira.
The suspect admitted his involvement in the crime and begged for forgiveness.
A friend of mine told me that I should take the child. So when I carry the child, so that I will ask the parents to give us money. Collected 500,000.
So when you collect 500,000, what do you go do to the pikin?
They will release the pikin.
Delta State Police Command urged parents and guardians to be wary of those they entrust their children with, in order to be security conscious and promptly report suspicious activities of criminal elements to the police. From Wari, Benga Hamed, ITV News.
And that ends the news update on ITV. Many thanks for watching. I am Anuoluwakbo Stevens. Up next is TMI Socials.
ITV, certainly the best.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want?
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. Welcome on board. I am Anuoluwakbo Stevens, perhaps calling you social media butterfly. Now, our video of today is the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, giving us the steps for this week. Take a look. Well, the mood for the week is set already. Now, our first story for today is hashtag the First Lady of Nigeria, trending again for interesting reasons. Now, over the weekend, Senator Oluremi Tinubu has appealed to some of the country's biggest entertainers, musicians, the likes of Davido, Burna Boy, Rema, to help the needy in the country. She actually did say that they should channel their wealth into charitable initiatives aimed at supporting poor and vulnerable Nigerians, also linking it up to a music icon, Akon, and what he's doing in the world. And now, speaking on the need for the greater private sector and individual support for social welfare, Tinubu said wealthy entertainers could make significant impact by establishing foundations dedicated to empowering struggling citizens, even as they enjoy the rewards of their success. Take a listen to her.
People, but our priorities are different, and I think it's high time we started helping those who need help in the country. I want to appeal to our young ones in the entertainment industry. I've mentioned it before, and I will use Akon, a music icon who does a lot of great charity work. They make the Burna Boys of this world, Ashake, all of them, Davido. We want to see you with one foundation or the other, helping the poor with your money. Not just good cars are good. A Maybach is good, Rolls Royce is good, but still, you can still help. The burden on the government is huge. You can still help. There are pepper sellers, there are vegetable sellers, there are okra sellers, melon sellers, akara, kulin. Akara is delicious.
Akara is definitely delicious. That's like a Saturday breakfast. So likes of Shali, Porpy, and the likes come out and help poor needy in Nigeria. Now, how did you take this online? Let's see what Gen Z particularly have been saying regarding this. Now, this user wrote, the audacity of Remi Tinubu asking Davido, Burna Boy, and Ashake to help poor Nigerians when there is a whole government in place is what is shocking me. Okay, now this user wrote on X still, she's clearly saying the truth. For those of you saying, why can't she use her money for that? A country isn't built that way. Yes, government officials may have embezzled the people's money, but without more support, how can you expect the government to sustain everyone? Well, still taking reactions on this story, this user says on X, There are the one in charge of the National Treasury, not Obio or Burner Boy. You are buying cars for women leaders, but can't equip Nigerians with what they need. Okay, jokers, anyway. It's an ongoing story on socials, and we'll keep you up to speed right here. But away from that, we now move over to Oyo State, where we got a cherry news over the weekend as the students and teachers who got abducted in Orirere local government area 56 days after in captivity have finally been rescued. Now, according to a statement by the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, the victims were freed through the efforts of security agencies. Now, let's take a look at the first video that went viral after we got news of their release on socials. Take a look at that moment.
Hello, sir. Father, we are grateful. The President, sir, we are grateful. We understand your commitment to our safety, and we appreciate all you did for us. We could see in your hand. Thank you very much. And every security operative, they tried so much, and that is why we are still alive now. We are very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Now, also in a video that went viral, the federal government did release frontline of the operations that actually did, free the Oyo school children over the weekend. Take a look. For a lot of Nigerians, it's finally a bit of cherry news on the country. Reacting to this online, let's get our first reaction from Peter Obi, if we can. He also did say that we should give Thanksgiving. Yes, that's it. Peter Obi says the children's safe return is worthy of Thanksgiving. In fact, yesterday I saw a trending video of the wife of the famous principal thanking God in church. He also went ahead to say, I am greatly relieved and delighted to learn that the safe rescue of the school children who were kidnapped. I sincerely thank all those tireless efforts made their freedom possible. And he went on and on and on. Now, another user reacting on X, this one wrote, the first thing they made them do is to record a video to thank Tinubu. They didn't even let them reunite with their family first. Okay, now this one reacting says, glad they are finally home safe after 2 months. Hope the security guys actually took out the main kidnappers this time instead of just letting them walk. Now, still staying in Oyo State, same Friday as well, when this incident broke out on social media, the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, interestingly made a revelation where he said that the abduction of pupils and teachers from Orirere local government area occurred just hours after he declared his intention to contest for the 2027 presidential election. Now, Makinde made a remark while addressing a meeting with Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed and the leaders of Allied People's Movement in Bauchi State. Take a look.
For 7 years, we didn't witness anything like this in Oyo State. I declared to run for the presidency of Nigeria at 4 o'clock, and by 9 a.m. the following morning, the children were abducted. We're still feeling through. For 7 years, we didn't witness anything.
Now moving over to tweets and reaction. We'll start off with this user who wrote on X. This one says, Okay, now this is on Instagram. Actually, this user wrote, let's agree the attack was planned 12 hours after your declaration. My question for you, sir, in your 7 years in office, how did you invest in your state security that you couldn't counter the attacks in more than 30 days? Now, another user wrote, stop playing politics with everything. While still reacting to this viral video, this user wrote, the kidnap was politically motivated. We know, sir. Is the sir for me there? Now, we're taking more reactions on this. This one wrote, out there, kidnap is something properly planned over time before execution. If the kidnap happened hours after your presidency declaration, then it most likely had nothing to do with that. So look for something else to blame this failure on. Alrighty. Now, just when you think you've actually seen it all on social media comes with a different dynamics. Now, hashtag Festus Keyamo and Peter Obi trended over the weekend for interesting reasons. As the presidential candidate of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, Mr. Peter Obi has reacted to claims made by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, over the recent airport controversy, accusing the minister of presenting a misleading account of the incident and targeting him for political reasons. Now, you will recall that Keyamo had issued the NDC presidential candidate an ultimatum stating that he should publicly apologize to airport officials and pay 25,000 naira fine over a wrongful parking incident at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport or face the consequences. And this actually got social media buzzing. Interestingly, we had the Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation, actually post the footage of the incident from the CCTV. Take a look.
Coming up from the vehicle.
Well, reacting to this, Peter Obi's media aide, Idris Zekeri, says it's all politically motivated and you're just winch hunting Peter Obi. Now, let's take a tweet and reaction. Also, to let you know that Festus Keyamo gave Peter Obi a couple of days to apologize and pay 25K. Now, Comrade Deji Adeoju says, ordinary 25K fine that most of us have paid at the airport whenever our cars are clamped. A presidential aspirant had to call to peddle influence so he doesn't pay. Very anyhow person. His driver cannot pay such a fine without calling him. Laugh out loud. My driver and my wife's driver have paid such fines on numerous occasions at the local and international airports. They will only tell us later and show us our receipts. Now, away from that interesting story, now this user wrote, Dear Mr. Festus, I don't blame anyone but Obi, who despite being a billionaire, decides to live a fragile lifestyle in a society where people don't respect humility. And he went on and on and on, as you can see there. Now, another tweet, okay, if we can, I think that's all we have on that story. It's an ongoing conversation. Would he pay the fine or not? Would he apologize? We're definitely watching out on Peter Obi versus Festus Keyamo. Now, we wrap up TMI Socials today with this note. The chairman of Jaho local government area in Jigawa State left people shocked after he distributed single sheets of steel roofing to residents as part of empowerment scheme. Now, the pictures you can actually see currently of the distribution went viral across social media platforms, with many expressing shock at the gesture. And of course, the government came out to respond by explaining that the materials were distributed to ease building costs. And imagine having to share just one single sheet of roofing. It's really, really hilarious. I can't wrap my head around it. It's called an empowering scheme right here in Nigeria. Now, Twitter reactions on this story. we started with this one who wrote Bossman on X. First time where I go manage see Jigawa for news. Now for funny reason. One roofing sheet for empowerment. Oh, this is funnily sad. It's the funnily sad for me. Another user wrote, wait, they have zinc roofing sheet problem in that state? Or this is yet another government empowerment without needs assessment. Okay, well, finally this user wrote, just one. What are they supposed to do with it? Sell it to Iron Condemn? Well, good question. I feel like only the Jigawa state government can give all of the answers that you need at this point. Now, on that note, we wrap up TMI Socials today. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwa Stevens. From all of us on This Morning on ITV, Lagos, Abuja, and right here in Edo State. Please stay safe. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So many people, they don't complain.